About 10 days ago, a lot of us directed our eyes toward the skies for that double planet that appeared in the night. And anytime we look at something in the sky, it's actually happened a while ago. It's millions of years for some of the stars' twinkles that we see, or even 8 minutes for the sun. Whatever you see looking at the sun happened 8 minutes ago. And so we live in this state of past and present anytime we engage with the heavens. And I thought about that as we enter the new year, and I thought about this special thing that happens in Hebrew. I don't know if it happens in any other language, and it happens in this Torah portion called the Vav HaChipuk that brings us into past and present and future all at once. There's this thing that if the letter Vav lies in a biblical text, that it changes the tense. So it might be written in future tense, but if this Vav appears before it at certain times, it actually is past tense. It's not clear why this happened, that Hebrew couldn't express present tense in the verb to be, and so they created this Vav Hipuk, and it's used. So this week's portion is Vayichi, and it would mean in future tense, and he lived, but instead, and he will live, but instead it means and he lived. It goes to past. It changes with this letter Vav. So all of a sudden the future, to live, becomes the past. He lived. And we live in this state really all the time. How much of our time do we really spend living right here in the present, right here and right now, and relishing? No. We come, the new year is coming, we've all these things we think we're going to do in the year ahead. We're going to lose 10 pounds, and we're going to get in shape, and we're going to be more organized, and all these things. Jim Collins, who wrote Good to Great, viewed the year ahead as something different. He said, don't pick something which is something you can't do every day. So if I make a resolution to lose 10 pounds, I can't lose 10 pounds every day, but I can instead say, I will be healthier in the year ahead, or I will lose weight in the year ahead. And all of a sudden what you do is you create these things that you can actually do every single day. And so what Jim Collins says to do is take 3 things you will do every day in the year ahead and 3 things you won't do. So I might stop worrying as much as I do every day. Right? So all of a sudden we look at the year ahead not as something daunting, like there's no way we're going to lose that weight or get that organized. But if we wake up every day and say, these are 3 things I can do and 3 things that I want to stop doing, all of a sudden we live in the present. And that's the power that the secular new year can instill in us, that we spend so much time thinking about regret and what happened, and we spend so much time worrying about the future. But if we can live in this very moment, then all of a sudden we have the ability to tackle whatever comes in front of us. And there's a beautiful expression of how sacred the present is in this Torah portion of Vayichi. As Rabbi Greg said, we'll be ending the book of Genesis. And what happens at the beginning of this portion is it tells us that Jacob lived 17 years in the land of Egypt. Now, that number 17 doesn't need to be told to us, because a little bit later on, it will tell us Jacob's age when he dies in Egypt. And so we know he lived there 17 years. But the rabbis say, why does the Torah focus in and say literally 17 years Jacob lived in Egypt? Here's why. You've seen that number 17 before. It is the age of Joseph when he is kidnapped and taken away and sold into slavery by his brothers. And so the rabbis say the 17 that's here in this Torah portion, Vayichi, that will end this Joseph story, has that number to bring you back to the first 17 years that Jacob and Joseph had together. And then Jacob lost this favorite son of his for so many years and lived 17 years at the other end of his life with him in Egypt. And it reminds us that those first 17 years that Jacob and Joseph had were precious. They were beloved. They were a time when Jacob, for better or for worse, showed intense love for this son Joseph, the son of his favorite wife Rachel. And when they come back together in Egypt, they are reunited, and together they have 17 years again. as if to remind us that every single moment is valuable, that there is hidden meaning in every moment we have with someone that we know and that we love and that we care for deeply, and we can't take it for granted. And if we spend our time instead being, annoyed or upset with what they did to us in the past, or instead if we stress about the future and what disappointments we will experience from that person the year ahead, we will lose the precious time that we have together. And so, in this first Shabbat of the new year, I hope that you are able to live in the present with those that you love. I hope that you are able to have things in the year ahead that you are able to accomplish that give you the strength to go on, that give you fulfillment. I hope you are able to stop the things that are holding you back. And I hope, most importantly, that you know shalom, wholeness, and peace. Shabbat shalom.